Thank you for your interest in the MTSS problem-solving modules for Intervention and Progress Monitoring project. There are 3 different types of module sets, including addition-subtraction problems, multiplication-division problems, and rational numbers. Each module focuses on several problem types. This chart shows how problem types are grouped for modules. Originally, when we began this work 2 years ago, MTS interventions were set for 6 weeks. Many of the addition-subtraction modules were designed to last 6 weeks. I'm reviewing and adjusting those modules now to match the new 10-week time frame. 3 modules in addition and subtraction need to be written, and all of the multiplication, division, and rational number modules need to be written. We will look at a completed module in just a moment. Each module contains overview information describing how to use the module. Each module includes sets of questions for 30 days. That is 3 per week for 10 weeks. Each day has 2 questions. Students focus on a single problem type some weeks, and multiple problem types are combined for later weeks. Each module is set up so that you know which problems are needed for each week. Each module contains a baseline assessment and 5 progress monitoring probes. Since progress monitoring is designed to monitor growth, the content of the baseline and all of the progress monitoring probes are similar. Each probe contains 3 problems from the current module, even if students haven't worked on all of them yet, and 1 problem from a previous module. Since the goal is problem solving, it is important that students make sense of the problems. Adding in a question from the last few modules helps to ensure that students are continuing to make sense of problems. This slide has a few notes about the module template. Consistency across the modules is important. We want fonts and structure to remain the same. This consistency makes the problem-solving system unified for users. It's easy to move from one module to the next and know what to expect. Please be sure that you do not copy and paste in a way that changes the template. The modules are in Arial. The module title is in 18-point font. The page titles are in 16-point font, and all other font is 14-point. Titles and days are bold, and all other font is regular black. The original template already loaded for you is set with everything correct. All you have to do is add the questions as described. This slide is just letting you know in case you accidentally delete something and need to fix it. The best thing to do is to use the template as is, and you won't need to concern yourself with this slide. Okay, let's actually go see the modules for a minute. So we're going to step out of this PowerPoint and go take a look. When I share the view only section with you, you're going to be able to see that there's 4 different folders inside the main folder. One folder is called the Module Creators folder, and if you click on that one, inside you'll find this PowerPoint, the one that I'm sharing with you now, and Framework, which is kind of information about how it works. There is some of the charts that you've seen as we flipped through here, like the problem solving development. So this has all of the modules and their letter names. This has information about the problem types if you want to see examples. And then this is the retail represent reason, just is the intervention all by itself. So you can click on any of those. I'm not going to go in those now because you can explore that later. Let's come back here. So the addition subtraction modules, what do they look like? Like I said, I'm in the process of updating these. I've only updated A and B at this point to 10 weeks. So I'm going to stick with one of those right now, and you can look at those for a done example too. You may eventually be able, or hopefully pretty soon you'll be able to look at some of the others too, but for right now, let's look at B. So when you click at B, you can either choose supplemental or intensive. These are going to look very much the same. There's maybe one sentence in here that's different in the directions that I've already adjusted for you. But if you click on supplemental, you'll see that it tells you what problem types this module is about. That's the very first thing that you see. Then it shows days 1 through 3 you're going to be working on add to, days 4 through 6, take from, and so on. Notice that sometimes, like after the first 2 weeks, add to and take from are combined. So this is a The days 7 through 9 are actually just a combination of the first week and second week. There's directions in here. Directions about scoring are in here. And then after that, you'll come to week 1, and you can see here's the day 1, day 2, day 3, with 2 questions. All of the questions on this page are add to, change unknown, every single one. And then when you go to week 2, every single question is take from, change unknown. When you go to week 3, now there's this mix. There's some add to and take from here. That actually goes on for 2 weeks of the mix. And then the very next week it's put together take apart only with 1 add-in unknown. So that's the only type that's here. They do that for a couple of weeks. And then once they get to week 7, it's all Module B problem types. So if you were to go through here and look, you would find all of those problem types that we just mentioned are going to be mixed in here in no particular order. And that's how the rest of the weeks go for this particular module. After you get past that, you're going to come to the Module B baseline assessment. There's 4 questions. All of the baseline assessments, all of the progress monitoring have 4 questions on them. One of those questions is from Module A on here. And I think it's the last one in this one. It is. So it says some apples are on the table. There are 3 red apples and 8 green apples. How many apples are on the table? That's just a part whole. So that one is from Module A. But these 3 are all Module B. And when students take the baseline and when they take some of the progress monitoring, they will not have learned, or they will not have had an intervention for some of the problem types as their progress monitoring. But what's important with the progress monitoring tool is that it's the same throughout. So every single one of these progress monitorings has a put together take apart problem with 1 part unknown, an add to change unknown, and a take from change unknown, and then 1 other review item. You'll see that's the baseline, and then after that there's a progress monitoring 1 with those same 4 problem types. The review item might change each time, and then the second progress monitoring, and so on all the way through until you get to 5. After the 5th one, that would be the last one normally. If students are intensive, what's going to happen is they'll do 1 through 5, and then they'll do 1 through 5 again if they're doing, because they would need progress monitoring every single week. But really that's the end. So you can see I'm at the end of the document now. It turns out to be 18 pages. So if you're thinking about what you're making or what you're going to be doing, you're going to be writing these questions for each of the days. So there's 30 days of questions and 2 questions on each day. So you're going to be writing about 60 questions. You just have to make sure you match the problem type at the top of the page, and then you'll be writing these questions for the baseline assessment. And I tell you specifically which question to write or which problem type to write on all of these. Let's go take a look at one that's ready for someone to start working on. So let's back out of this one. Let's go to W, or let's go to V. V is ready for someone to work on. Okay, so if we go in V, V hasn't been worked on at all yet. And you can see these are the problem types in this one. A plan is already set up. What's going to be week 1, week 2, week 3. The directions are already in there. So this is what you're going to come to where you have to write. So this is telling you that this week you're going to be writing add to questions. There'll be 3-digit, multi-step, change unknown. Now what that means when it says multi-step, this means that you're going to have add to change unknown as one of the steps, but the other step could be any problem type. It doesn't matter that they've already experienced before. When it says add to change unknown, that's only really one of the steps. The other step could be from any module. It doesn't really matter. It could even be adding to 1-digit numbers for that matter. It doesn't. The point is that they have to have more than one step, and that somewhere in that there'll be an add to change unknown. So they're all set up like this for the weeks. You can see that they just say question there, and you're just going to replace where that says question with the actual question that you write. And then If you go down to the baseline assessment, I was more specific here because I wanted to make sure that these assessments are consistent across. So this is telling you the order is going to change, you're going to see, but the baseline and 5 are exactly the same. They're going to be exactly the same assessment, but this tells you like you're going to do, the first question here has to be take from, 3-digit multi-step change unknown. The second question has to be add to, 3-digit multi-step start unknown. Every assessment is telling you exactly what kind of question to put on there. But you can see that they're not written. So what you're going to be doing is replacing those words with the questions. Let's go back to the PowerPoint, and I'm going to continue with a few more tidbits of information there. But I did want you to kind of see what it's going to look like for you if you're doing this work.